Whether you're starting your business journey like me or if you are at a different stage of your business, these are the 9 must-read books that every entrepreneur should read. Not only that I'll discuss key lessons and concepts that I learned from these books, but I will also discuss actionable strategies, inspiring stories, and invaluable lessons that will help to make your journey easier. So the first book is called Think and Grow Rich, and the story behind this book is so interesting. So Andrew Carnegie, who was once the most wealthiest man on this planet, actually commissioned the author of this book called Napoleon Hill to study 500 successful men and women and their stories and try to find out what is common between them and what can be learned from their journeys. Found one thing common amongst most of the successful men and women, that they strongly believed in themselves and had a positive attitude towards life. If you don't have desire to be successful, you won't be. If you don't have faith in yourself, forget about it. And if you're not persistent, then you're gonna give up and nothing will get done. And what I loved about this book is that it's not just about financial success, which we all talk about, but it's also about the personal success and feeling content with oneself. That is highlighted in this book. So I would highly recommend this book. The next book is called Good to Great. In this book, Jim Collins discussed that he wanted to actually understand what is the difference between a good company versus a great company. And the fact that any good company can be a great company are actually following this similar footsteps. And he found that success of a company is very much dependent on leaders. And not only that, there is a trait called level 5 that actually truly decides whether a company is going to be successful or not. He highlighted 2 key concepts. One is the power of discipline, and the other is the hedgehog concept. Not this hedgehog. So hedgehog concept involves focusing on what your company can be the best in the world at, what drives your economic engine, and what you are deeply passionate about. This simple yet profound principle helps companies focus on their core strengths and achieve lasting success. If you try to be jack of all trades, not only in your personal life but as a company, you're bound to fail. There is one thing that you're passionate about and really good at and have world-class attribute, focus on that. The best thing he discussed in this book is that any company can become great. The next book is 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. So Peter Thiel was the co-founder of PayPal, and he discusses a very important factor here about competition. That try to analyze existing markets and what can you do differently and unique, because your likelihood of success increases if you're doing something valuable but in a market which is a unique concept and nobody else is competing for it. Moreover, he provides a roadmaps to startups to innovate and change with the market conditions. The key concept that we learn in this book is called monopolies. We believe that monopolies drive progress because they have money and resources to invest in innovation. And that is a reality. Big companies are most likely going to win the competition because they have the resources and money to do innovation. And innovation is really key to success. So he really encourages entrepreneurs to look for market gaps which no one is looking at and find unique opportunities where you don't have to compete with everybody. Because even if you reach a certain threshold, you won't be able to scale your business more than that because you're competing with so many people out there. The next book is called E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. So for those who don't know Michael Gerber, he's a business consultant who helps small business owners, and here he shares the story of a small business owner called Sarah. Sarah, like most business owners, was struggling to make it in the business world, and he found that there was common pitfalls among most small business owners. And the reason why small businesses fail, the key concept that he discussed in this book really changed my life. He discussed that as a business owner, when you're starting your journey from scratch, you can be either of these 3 positions. Either you can be the technician, either you can be the manager, or either you can be the entrepreneur who shares a vision. The most important thing is to be the entrepreneur instead of technician and manager. Because in the beginning, you can do work, but you cannot do everything. But if you start managing, then who will manage the vision? Because you're so busy managing day-to-day operations. So the best position you can be in your business to make it scalable is to actually be in the entrepreneur vision area, where you see the vision and you guide the company, make the strategies, and you have a team of technicians who are really good at their job and handle the chores, and there's manager who's actually managing everybody, making sure the resources are allocated to the right person. If you try to wear all the hats, then very less likely you're going to make a successful business out of this. So he emphasizes to drive a successful business, work on the business, not in the business. The next book is actually one of the most famous books by Tim Ferriss called 4-Hour Work Week, where he asks you to imagine your life without your 9-to-5 grind and build a lifestyle and incorporate business and wealth in it. So he introduces the concept called lifestyle design, which basically means that you can design your life the way you want and you don't have to work too much to get things done. You can work less and get a lot of things done if you work strategically. And yes, through practical tips such as outsourcing or using automation tools or innovation, you can reduce your work and still achieve a lot. The key concept he discussed in this book called lifestyle design, which means basically figuring out what kind of life you desire and what kind of a person you are when it comes to your work ethics. If you can't handle too much pressure and stress, then figure out ways where you can manage to live your life without taking too much stress and do work which is just enough to pay off for your lifestyle. This is a very popular concept amongst digital nomads who are actually traveling the world and handling their work where they can work from any part of the world. So he basically highlights on the importance of focusing on high impact activities, not on everything. The next book is called The Innovator's Dilemma by Clayton Christensen. He tells the story of how even successful startups and big companies, if they don't catch up with the innovation and the changing market. And this book is so relevant even today because so many news out there about companies feeling pressured and actually not being able to catch up with the AI race. And that is happening because a lot of companies still don't know how can they incorporate. AI is important, but it's so important to figure out how can it be helpful to your operations without disturbing what's happening right now. And that is the biggest struggle of companies at the moment. So this book is actually even relevant to current times, although he has discussed it from the historical perspective. The key concept he talks about is called disruptive innovation, where he says that you don't need a lot of money and resources to actually be innovative. You can actually work with very few resources in a smart way if you can find the innovation that just work well for you. And he gave one of the best advices if you're starting a business like me, to target on the most overlooked segments of big companies, which nobody cares about but exist, and solves the problem. The next book is called The Hard Things About the Hard Things by Ben Horowitz. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I'm trying my best, guys. So he's the co-founder of Andreessen Horowitz, and he shares a raw and unfiltered journey about starting his business. It's really interesting that I find a lot of things common between his journey and Elon Musk's journey, as when Elon joined Tesla, he also shared the same insights where he said he joined the company and had to make tough decisions as a leader. The only way you can manage crisis for a company is by having a resilient team who has one mentally as strong as the leader. Sometimes you can't afford to waste time in making decisions. So I truly believe decision making makes or breaks a business, and it's very important for a leader to make tough decisions and tough calls, even take risks that can make or break that company. The next book is called The Blue Ocean Strategy by Chan Kim and Rennie Mobon. I hope I'm saying the right name again. Picture a business world with red ocean where there's a lot of competition happening, and with blue ocean where there is relatively less competition happening, the market is untapped, very few players are actually building something which is still solving a problem. And that's what is discussed in this book, that there are many ways of building a business. Either you can go after things which everybody's fighting for, and there are going to be clearly few players who have more money to invest in innovation. Or you can actually find those unique opportunities in the market which nobody is truly looking at or ignoring because there's a lot of work in it or a lot of thinking, strategy required to make anything out of it. And here, scarcity and abundance mindset is really important, because if we believe that all the problems in the world are solved, then actually we are not right. There are a lot of problems that still needs to be solved. The key concept that they discussed in this book is called value innovation. Innovation not just to make money, but rather innovation to actually build value. Solve problems that haven't been solved and needs to be solved. And trust me guys, there are so many problems in the world that needs to be solved. whether it comes to healthcare, whether it comes to poverty, gender parity. There's a lot that can still be covered. The next is my favorite author, Gary Vee, in his book Crushing It. In this book, he actually shared the journey of entrepreneurs who turned their passions into their business through the power of social media. The key concept that he discussed in this book is the power of personal branding, and the fact that in the future, and that is actually happening in the current times, the key differentiation point amongst business A and business B would be the personal brand behind that business. And that's what Elon Musk is leveraging as well. And the last book, which is actually one of my favorite books, which I've read a couple of times, not because it's a really big book, but because it offers valuable lessons, is called The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. I hope it's Eric Ries, not Eric Ries. If it is so, I'm sorry, Eric. So in this book, he actually discussed that there are actually myths around startups and starting a startup. That you need a lot of capital, that you need a lot of resources and a really big team to make it big. But in reality, you can even do your operations in a lean way by using your resources very smartly, by using automations and innovations, and with a small team, and allocating your resources very, very carefully. The key concept that he discussed in this book is something which I'm also going to use, is called build, measure and learn. He say instead of spending too much money into marketing straight away with a product that you don't know that people will need or not, build it, build an MVP, which is a minimum viable product, and then test with the market whether they really need it, what do they really think about it. A customer feedback is really important, and then learn and change and adapt as you grow. Instead of putting and pouring all your savings and hard-earned savings into a business and launching it straight away, actually learn from the customer feedback, figure out what can be improved and change as you grow. So this is actually one of the most valuable books that I've learned, and I would highly, highly recommend you to read it if you're planning to start a startup or you're interested to know how startups work successfully. So that's all for today, and I hope these 9 books give key concepts, the valuable lessons that you have been wanting to hear as a business owner or an entrepreneur. I'll see you in my next video. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.